Good morning. Welcome back to Live Vibe Coding with Will Melton. I am Will Melton. Thanks for joining me today. If you're tuning in to this for the very first time, I am building 52 apps in 2026 as a personal challenge and as a means to show others what's possible. So thank you for joining me today and following along on my journey. It has been an exciting 2026 so far. I have built 13 apps so far. You can hop over to studio.willmelton.com to see just what I'm building. Today I'm picking up where I left off yesterday, and that is working on my course curriculum builder. I haven't given this a name yet, but right now CourseCraft Studio is the code name of this project. I'll be adding that into the studio today, but I've got to get a little bit more progress done on that, so we'll start working there. But I wanted to point out that today, Lovable is celebrating International Women's Day, and I can't find it right now, but I will get to it. But essentially, they are giving away free credits today, so we're going to get right to work. I've got a sprint that I want to execute on Channel RVA. This is something that I'm going to show off tomorrow. So stay tuned and pop in at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow at studio.willmelton.com to actually see a little bit more of Channel RVA in action. But for now, I'm going to be building some sprints. I'm going to take advantage of my credits. If you were following along yesterday, you may have noticed that I had a API key pop up on the screen in the middle of my live session. So I had to go get a new API key to be able to clear that out and make sure that I wasn't putting my API key at risk. So just pointing out a little mistake that I made and the follow up that needed to happen to be able to accommodate that. But let's see, what am I doing here? I want to take a look at our roadmap and see what we have in the pipeline. We've got one thing in the backlog, and that is the public course marketplace. This is, I'm not so sure about the necessity of that, but let's just kind of talk through some things here. This sidebar bottom is a little bit weird because the different menu items are indented. Um, it seems like everything's being jammed into the left-hand sidebar for the app, but we do need to have a top menu as well that has a hamburger on the side for desktop and laptop and mobile, the same hamburger menu for all views so that people can easily navigate the front end and the back end. It should have a link to the dashboard, a link to log in, log out. The dark mode toggle needs to go up into the top bar, not in the left-hand sidebar. Notifications also needs to go up there. It just doesn't work down there in the left. You can keep a sign out down there. It's fine. Settings can stay down there. That's fine. But we also need to build out the front end of this site so that people know what this is and can navigate it when they come to it. So let's see, what do I want to do here? I want to add that directive to the roadmap so that we can keep chronicling everything. We need to have features, frequently asked questions, a really good homepage that's attractive and accurately conveys what we're building and makes the case that anybody should use it because right now it's free. So we'll make this free for a little while. And as I mentioned before yesterday when I was building, we might be making this remixable so that people can spin it up as their own project too. But for now, let's just go ahead and get that out of the roadmap, and we will come back to additional features and thoughts here in just a minute. So yesterday I started to build up two different curricula. I'm going to skip this one. That's going to be for the course that I am teaching at the University of Richmond here, starting April 22nd is the first day of that. This is for marketers who are looking for an upgrade to their strategy. You want to get more visible in AI, you want to attract more customers, you want to grow at a more rapid pace. This course is for you. It will more than pay for itself, as the impact of the work from this course is going to be outsized. You won't believe it. I have been pretty in awe myself at the kind of results we've been able to deliver to our clients, and what we've seen for ourselves. So I believe in it. That's why I'm teaching the course, and we're just building out a tool to be able to have the ease to move through the building of curriculum. My vibe coding school is one of the new things that will be coming out soon, so I do need to build that curriculum up. I'm going to be consulting with an expert on this curriculum building expertise area, but for now I'm going as far as I can without expertise. Okay, all pages. Build it now too. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay. I'm going to just prompt this with another little update. Conduct an audit of our system, checking over the different functions that we've built so far, the different integrations that we've created. We've built this over time, and so there's likely to be some legacy code or some things that weren't properly stitched together. I want to make sure that we are being thorough with this before I get into thorough testing. If there's anything that, based on what we've built, that has revealed itself as an opportunity to improve, or a new feature that might be intuitive for what we're trying to accomplish here, the business cases that we are helping instructors more rapidly take their expertise in instruction and move it into a curriculum that can be leveraged by themselves during the course and by the students during the course. And so that is your next directive. I want you to go ahead and update the product roadmap by adding comments to any tasks that were previously indicated as in review or completed, and mark them as changes needed and stipulate what those changes need to be. If that's the case, create new tasks for anything new that we need to create that's not currently chronicled in the product roadmap. So what I'm trying to do here is, with this prompt, I'm trying to get as much juice out of Lovable today that I can, and that is by first really taking this big step back and thinking about the work that we're doing and trying to get this perspective, and then getting to the point of building out the roadmap with all of those things, and then executing the roadmap in the process of building, like we're doing over here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take a look at some other things that I'm working on. So one of the things that I have been building is this product roadmap. And I want to see what this says really quickly, because this should be done for the most part. I just want to make sure that this is just improperly tagged. building this product roadmap is a little bit of work. And so, what I want to do is make sure that everything that I'm building has a roadmap built into it that is up to date, that I'm going to continue to work on anyway. And so, I need to be sure some of these may not have a roadmap. So, what I'm going to do is instead of avoiding it, I'm going to go ahead and get it going in here. So the way that this roadmap is deployed is I just come over here to the API and SDK, copy the deploy prompt, paste that over here, and let that build. So I have this item in the roadmap that is supposed to sync roadmap items between installations. Let's see, connect roadmap API instance, fetch items, and subscribe to updates. I already have implemented a connective tissue between different things. So primarily my studio website has the ability to see roadmap items that I deem as public when I integrate the those sites together. So I haven't been reusing that much because um, I haven't really been thinking about my studio website in a commercial sense. It's more of like a studio kind of collection. I do have this commercial utility built into it, but what I'll share just over my 20 years of building businesses, the experience that I bring to the table says that you need to do something many times over before you get the kind of traction that you'd expect to get much earlier in the game. Uh, key number is 47 times of practicing something, doing it over and over again. I have had the opportunity to do that for many of things in my life. That many websites, that many uh, podcast episodes, that many uh, you know computers built, you name it. There's over time, you find that once you reach a threshold, you find traction. So I don't expect to get a ton of traction from this right away, but I do expect that as I continue to build, I will continue to have fruits of that building labor emerge. So let's see, that's going to go. I've got this. I'm going to read what this says because, again, I'm not sure what this is supposed to do. But I already have this functionality, so I feel like this is redundant. Can you confirm? So I think the roadmap is done, but I want to see when this one builds, if it actually builds exactly the way that it's supposed to, because I've been noticing that my roadmap has not been building properly. Now I'm going to go over to some of the other projects that I'm working on to see where I have any roadmap advancement opportunities. I don't believe that this one has anything. I'm not sure why it's taking a second to load, but it will get there. There we go. Okay. This one could be something that I work on. Okay, so we don't even have an admin on that site. So I'm going to go ahead and get my roadmap here. And basically what I'm doing is I'm rebuilding a WordPress website that I already have for America's Healthiest City and doing it in Lovable. All right, what am I doing here? Okay, so get the copy sprint for that. There we go. And let's see, take a look at Discover AI and see if there's anything that needs to be done inside of this. I have not been building on this project anymore. It has been turned over to my team. So let's take a look at the product roadmap. Let's see, this is in review. Okay, let's do this. Let's take a look at our roadmap. I'm going to auto assemble a sprint here and just let this run. Okay, so there's a problem here. The execute sprint button, unfortunately, is not working as expected. The purpose of the execute sprint button is to copy the instructions to the clipboard for Lovable to move through the sprint items and not stop in between and change the status of each item to in review. Um, I don't believe that this SDK was deployed properly, or at least it was deployed and not finalized. So I'm going to give you the instructions on the SDK one more time to make sure that we have the latest. Please be thorough. Okay. I just tried to copy the prompt in the project. This response. Let's try this. Okay, let's get back in here. So, again, just trying to get a little bit of a foothold here. Hello, Enter Studios. Thanks for joining me today. If you're just popping in for the first time, I'm building 52 apps in 2026 as a personal challenge. And I can have you visit here and see all the things that I've built so far. You can see my past sessions as well. I got to get this updated. Let's see. Go ahead and sync here, pull in some of my latest stuff. Or maybe, yeah, it's not pulling in the latest stuff. There we go. I'll come back and fix those up later, but now we have my latest sessions here on the site. And right now I'm deploying my product roadmap that I've built for my Lovable installations across my different builds. Let's see, try this. Had a little bit of an issue with my deployment over here. I seem to have a persistent issue with this. So I'm going to try to auto-assemble a sprint here and copy the sprint instructions and let that go. We'll see where we're at over here. Okay. So I believe everything on this project is now in review. So we're going to do this. Please conduct a complete audit of the code, the functions, the database. Determine if any gaps emerged as we develop new features, if there's any connectivity that was failed to be integrated, and if there are any outstanding items from a QA or logical next feature perspective that we can address. Please add any comments to existing tasks in the product roadmap and move them to changes needed. Add any new items that that will help us out with completion of this application. Keep in mind that this is a media site for locals to be able to activate around events and connect to their peers and to see what's happening and to be connected to creators and to potentially create themselves. Um, Definitely Enter Studio. Sometimes want to learn scripting, but I suck. Okay, I don't know what that means. Let's not leave that in here. So if you want to ask me any questions, maybe I can help answer, but I'm not quite tracking with you there. Okay. Hopefully you guys like this music. I'm pulling this from Deep Space One over at Soma FM. Thank you, Soma FM, for supplying me with this music. Also, if you're building today, Lovable is totally free for International Women's Day, thanks to Lovable, Stripe, and Anthropic. So super excited about that. Thanks for following Inner Studios. We'll catch you later. Let's see. We're driving that home. This is, I got to answer some questions over here. Okay, I'm just kind of answering these questions and getting this going here. Thank you. There's a lot of tasks in here that don't have enough information, so whoever populated those tasks in the roadmap needs to give me some more information there. So I have a couple users who are managing this, and we will get back to them later. But let that run. One actionable, yeah, that's basically going to run in the background. We'll come back to that later. We've got a roadmap here. What I want to do is let me get logged into this site, just see what we were working with here, and make sure that I can see the roadmap. Okay, I have nothing there, so that makes sense. Okay, I don't have an auto sample. What do I do? Okay. I want you to conduct a QA audit on everything that we've built and determine if we have everything that we need. One of the things that's going to be important is that because we own the studio, we're going to be booking some sessions that are not going to actually cost anything. Um, they're not going to be sold to anybody. They're just going to be reserved on the calendar. So I need to make sure that we can accommodate that for our operations. But otherwise, um, I feel like the dashboard for users is lacking a sidebar, which would make it really easy to manage everything a bit better. Right now, this kind of welcome screen is pretty basic. I don't want to share the management dashboard sidebar. I want to have a different view. Um, but I also would like you to fix the management dashboard too. I think, generally speaking, we kind of want the left-hand sidebar to go all the way to the top, and the regular top bar to start after the sidebar starts. And then so that we can manage this from a mobile device, we need to be able to toggle the sidebars open and closed in both views. Um, but you do the QC, QA check, and go ahead and update the roadmap with any tasks that need to be executed before we take anything on. All right, I'm going to try to say your name, Cougar Inu. What subscription recommend start with Lovable? I just start with the free one. Honestly, everything's free today, so just go start with the free one and start building. You will it'll reveal how much you need in credits to be able to get where you need to go. And so I am on the pro plan, and I have 2,000 credits a month, and that costs me $705 per month. No, sorry, that would be if I upgraded. Right now, I have 2,000 credits per month, and honestly, I can't remember how much it costs because this is showing me upgrade prices, but maybe we can find out. 480 per month. Okay. Yes. Now, granted, keep in mind, I'm building a lot. Building, 52 apps this year, so um, it's might seem expensive, but I'm able to get a lot out of it, and I'm able to get a lot more out of it than maybe some other people do because I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm really at the point of being able to do it very efficiently from a building perspective. So I'm just taking a look at this. Okay, this is cool. So this populated a good number of sprint items for us to execute on for my media website, which we're going to show off tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. So come hang out with me then, and I'll show you more about that. Right now, you just get to see the roadmap being built. This guy is also in a position of having some new roadmap items that need to be executed on. So I'm going to go ahead and see auto-populate a new sprint, execute the sprint, paste this and let it go. So this is just helping me move through much faster. Yes, lovable prompting. So the very first prompt that you give Lovable if we were starting a new project, which I intended to do today, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to start over in Anthropic or Claude. I do like Claude. So I'm going to do a voice memo first because I've found that Claude's voice feature is not great. So I will pull up voice memos. I'm going to start a new voice memo here. And what I want to do is build a facilitation app. Um, there is a source for facilitation structures called Liberating Structures that has just kind of a really old website experience. But they make all of these structures available under a Creative Commons license, so we can actually take all of this stuff and extract it and pull it out. There's a few problems. There are some images that need to be OCR'd because there's text on images, and then some images we don't need to pull over at all. The rest is all text. And basically, what we want to be able to do is build a tool for facilitators to very quickly select a structure for the meeting type that they have based on different criteria. Is it in person? Is it remote? Is it hybrid? How long do we have? What are the objectives that we're trying to achieve with this meeting? Who are the key players potentially? Um, are they all part of the same team? Are they coming together from different places? Have they met before? Have they not met before? There's a lot of little nuances that go into great facilitation. And so, what I want to do today is come up with a really good work plan that we can feed to Lovable so that we can build an excellent front facing application that is totally free for facilitators to use. At least to start, we might create some features that are premium later, but for now, we're going to make it free. And we do want to create proper user authentication with this application so that users can kind of assemble their facilitations and they can create unique facilitations for different events that they're going to be holding and just have a little repository for themselves. We may leverage, we'll definitely be leveraging AI to be the recommendation engine for this. So we'll need to integrate with Lovable Cloud. And right now, let's just go ahead and make the work plan that will fuel our development. I want to have a proper front end to explain to people what this is. I want to have a proper back end dashboard with a sidebar that allows us to organize our different menus properly. We need to have proper CRUD features for all of the different things that we're doing here, but we also need to ingest all of the liberating structures from the liberatingstructures.com website so that we can facilitate this overall tool. Ask me any questions that you have, and we will go to work. Okay, so a couple of things there. You notice that I made a point of saying that we're going to have user authentication in this. That's one of the key things that you want to make sure you get up front. Because if you miss that part, it's weird to integrate it later. Same thing with payment integration. Those things all matter a whole lot. If you're going to have AI, for instance, that's going to be another thing that will drive some decisions, but that's pretty easy to integrate now with Lovable. So I'm going to paste this prompt into Claude. I'm actually going to also paste this prompt into Lovable because I want it to have my full thinking, but I'm going to allow Claude to help me think through the full prompt here, and it's going to ask me some questions, so I'm going to go ahead and let it do that. It's funny that it automatically recommended itself for the AI backbone, but that's okay. Um, there's a data ingestion feature in Lovable. I can't think of what it's called right now, but it's asking me the questions now. I don't know what feature it's trying to access, but I'll fix that later. We're doing a new Claude pilot here at Exponent 21, so that's what I'm working on at F. Got a little project set up for these specific projects. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this guy. I'm not going to read through it because I've already dictated what I want. There could be something that gets screwed up in here, but let's just see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let that build. Another thing that I didn't include in this is like a design directive. So I will probably need to do a little bit on that front, but mostly just trying to make sure that we have the visual quality that we want. I don't find that Lovable does a poor job, but sometimes it can do kind of a flat job. So let's see what we've got here. If we have a dashboard for this guy, dashboard. I have no pathway to the dashboard or to an admin area on this website. It is, if we've built any of that out, um, I need you to keep going with all this stuff. I don't have access to anything. The site is basically just a front end that you've coded with no management functionality. Okay. Use Firecrawl. It's asking me about design. So this is a facilitator app. I'm going to say we'll go with something sharp, smart. Authentication, email and Google. It's getting easier to integrate some of these things. Lovable's doing a good job at kind of getting some of this stuff tied into its back end. I will be adding a product roadmap to this as well, but I don't start with building the product roadmap. I start with just getting the foundation built out, and then I come back and do the product roadmap after that. So we'll keep that open. Let me see where we're at over here. This thing is going. Refresh this view to see where we're at. So please renew the QA uh, that we just did with all that we've built. I want to have you kind of go through the user experience specifically for different functions, whether that be the events calendar and associated functionality, the field desk functionality for reporters, and the flow of that content into our publication, the advertising engine, its completeness and readiness to accept uh, payment for advertisement. I think we might still be in Stripe test mode. And go ahead and give us an update to the product roadmap. Yeah, ideas, basic knowledge about concepts. And I would say that you can also look at the code here. So if you know anything about code, you can kind of come in here and figure out a little bit more about how this works. But essentially, the way that it breaks down is you have your front facing code that people see, you have your back end components and dashboards and management utilities, all the things that actually make the software work. And then you have the functions, which are the actual processing of information, however you decide it to be. I think that what I do maybe a little bit differently than other people is I don't really think about building something for just myself. I very easily could do that, but I'm a business person. That's kind of my art form. So I like to think about how this could be commercially viable for other people. This is a cell phone product. This is something that I created for myself, but I'm going to make available to other people. This is something, a utility that I'm using over and over again so that I can build faster. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm not putting a lot of information into the interface manually because it takes a lot of time to do that. So I'm able to uh, not have to move information around. I can just direct it essentially by talking to Lovable, and then not messing up. Okay, so here's the thing. I think a lot of people fear to start because they think they're going to mess something up. But you can always go back in time. If you screw something up, you can always revert to a previous version. You can spin up a copy and revert that to a previous version, and then you have uh, two different apps, and you can kind of play with the different ones and see which version you want to keep. So I've never done that. I've always only gone forward. I've gone back a couple of times. I've lost a week at best, at most rather. So I wouldn't worry about messing up, but you learn by building. So just go forward and find out what you find out as you move along the journey. All right, let's see what I've got here. I've got my roadmap in here now. I don't know how I can get. And considering that Lovable's free today, I have to say that I would have thought the performance of this would have been a lot worse. But I'm sailing right through everything today. All right. Let's see what else we've got in the roadmap. Let's change this one to planned. Go ahead and auto-populate our sprint here. Get that going. moving right along. I'm going to go over here to this side to take a look at this. This is annoying me. This is not moving as fast as I would like. I don't care. That's fine. So now I'm done with this. I probably will not come back to this Claude prompt. That's probably like the last time I'll touch that. I probably don't need to come back to this website. Um, what motivated this app, by the way, is I do have a facilitator certification, and I was turned on to the liberating structures um, application or website in that course, and it was very evident that this site is not very useful. So I created a GPT back when I was still using ChatGPT that would essentially do the same thing that we're doing today, but this one's going to make it a little bit more of a tool for people instead of just a text interface. We're going to be able to allow people to save their different structures and perhaps export some different. All right, I'm going to have to go get. I can't remember if I have a Firecrawl account. I must. Okay, I have a connection. Let's just see what's going on here. Go back. I'm just taking a look at whatever's going on over here. Firecrawl. Okay. I probably don't even need to use Firecrawl. It probably would just go get it. But I'm okay with leveraging that. I have a free account with them, so we'll see how far it takes me. All right. So the curriculum builder seems like it's done. Now, what I want to do is let me get back over here so I can see if anybody's talking to me. Thank you, Ugranu. Appreciate you. All right. Let me get into the vibe coding school. I'm going to build this out a little bit. Um, Go ahead and give me the outline for the vibe coding school that we have populated right now. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get this to give me an output on the vibe coding school so I can put that into this. Let me see what I've got. Vibe coding. I have a vibe coding school. Okay, I do. But I've got two of these. Which one is the better one? Okay. So, what I would like you to do is to output a summary, bullet summary of the vibe coding school course that I have in here so that I can share that information with another AI. All right, so what I want to do today is I want to finish my vibe coding school course. They're getting pretty close to done. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the outline that I've got right now, I'm going to put it over into Claude, and I'm going to talk to Claude for a little bit about getting that built up. But while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about let me get a voice memo going here. We are going to be fleshing out a course curriculum for a vibe coding school that I'm starting, and I'm going to give you the outline for what we have so far. I want to make sure that we're covering a whole number of things because vibe coding isn't just about coding and development; it's about building a business. And so I want to cover both, the idea generation, the problem solution set, the marketable solution, like what the marketplace looks like, how big the pool of potential users is going to be. I want to talk about pricing and sort of the viability and the sustainability of the business. I want to talk about uh, growth plans and exit plans and investor plans, not at length, but just as a means to help people recognize what it is that is important as they go to build. We also want to talk about, obviously, the architecture of a vibe coded app. We'll focus primarily on tools like Lovable, where we have an integrated solution. Um, and let's see, we want to talk about the database. We want to talk about the functions. We want to talk about the code. We want to talk about Lovable's ability to roll back to previous versions. We want to talk about Lovable's new feature to be able to have a staging site, which is currently a beta feature, but it is something I have seen in some of my applications. We want to talk about what it looks like to move a completed Lovable app to an AWS uh, setup and what you have to do to make that sort of transition happen. We want to talk about some of the pitfalls of Lovable websites, like corporate firewalls preventing access to the majority of these builds, the lack of a content management system, and some of the finagling that needs to happen in order to effectively get content to be readable by Google Search Console and to be picked up by large language models. So there's a lot that needs to be covered here so that people understand that it's not like building a website, but it's building an application. We also need to cover security from a big perspective, so row level security and user authentication. We need to cover payment integrations, primarily with Stripe, but we can talk about the ability to integrate with lots of different payment tools like uh, connecting to bank accounts to be able to pay out to participants in the system, or um, being able to accept payments from different payment merchant processors. We want to be able to talk about the necessity and utility of good design thinking and good design. We want to talk about um, the importance of designing a great user experience and making sure that everything we do is in service to the user, designed to speed up their workflow, reduce friction, uh, and improve outcomes and add value in general so that the user maintains their license so that they continue to pay you for what you've built. We need to talk about the competitive nature of software development these days and how there's a huge risk for some companies that have built something that can be easily replicated. And that if you're going to build something today that you expect to get paid for, it better have a tremendous amount of value and be very difficult to replicate, or at least targeted to an audience that is not in the interest of replicating a tool, but just getting work done. Okay, so I'm done with that. I'm going to go ahead and get my transcript. I'm going to come to this. Uh, okay. Um, okay. So what we're doing now is trying to get a just an advance on the school curriculum here. I'm going to come back through after I get this built out, and I'm going to populate this into the project that I'm building. This course craft studio. I need to come up with a better name for this here at some point, but um, at 11 o'clock, I'm an hour into this today, and I feel like making pretty good progress. I'm gonna keep my sprints going over here. All right, let me go to the dashboard and see where we're at with our roadmap on this one. I think everything's in review. So what we're gonna do is just build up this curriculum. I'm gonna let that keep going. It's gonna take a while to get there. All right, liberating structures is ready for a roadmap. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy the deploy prompt on that one and add this in here. I'll seed the structures first since it already is ready to do that. And then I'm gonna back that up with a secondary prompt there. You can queue up several prompts in Lovable, which I enjoy. They've done a lot. I mean, I started using this maybe not quite a year ago, um, and they are one of the most successful by growth companies in the game. So uh, pretty happy with them. Now, one thing that I'll share with you guys that I found, and I kind of iterate over and over again, is that it pays to build as much of the technical infrastructure as possible before you start giving it critiques, because you can spend a lot of time and compute trying to play whack-a-mole to solve little problems, when what you really need is a completed application with integrated architecture. And until you have everything in place, it's really difficult to start to critique what's been built. So you want to finish first, move as fast as you can through the build process, and then you can start to take a look at all the details and be a little bit more critical of it. I'm actually going to be building out my curriculum today without ever coming into this management interface, because I move fast. I'm going to move fast. I'm going to come back through here and I'm going to read everything after it's populated to make sure that I'm happy with it, because I do have to teach this course, and as does my staff. But what I will consider at some point is perhaps adding some AI utility into this so that my users have some of that capability, so that they're not having to come in here and populate information in every single one of these boxes. But that is a consideration as a next step. And I think that that's one of the things that is going to set software apart, is how much are you enabling the user without having to click on a bunch of stuff and move a bunch of stuff around. So that's always the name of the game. I'm going to just give one more quick prompt here. I have this other kind of key piece of advice that I want to inject, and I'm going to repeat myself here, but build as much of the code as possible before you start doing front end tweaks and individual function QA. Build as much as possible, as fast as possible, because it's efficient. It's the most efficient way to build. It uses the least compute, and it builds up the majority of the functions that you need as fast as is possible. Once it's all done, then you can start to tackle individual problems. But approaching it from a holistic perspective is going to make it more efficient. It's going to make it less of a whack-a-mole time suck. I don't know where that fits in here, but I want to add something somewhere in this whole thing so that we can help people recognize the opportunity to be efficient in their building. All right. What do we have over here? Building out the sitemap. I get logged in here and see if I can't. Okay. So once the sitemap, or once the product roadmap is built up, I'll come back and add all of the outstanding things that we need to do to make this site functional to the roadmap before we start building again. Sometimes you get these builds that are just kind of crummy. Sometimes it might make sense to start over. That's one thing that you have in your deck of cards. Okay, let's see what we have here. We should be done. Okay, I'll copy that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my course craft studio, and I'm going to paste this in here and say, let's go ahead and update the coding school curriculum. Okay, so I'm going to leverage AI a little bit to help shape all of this. Obviously, we've prompted what we want. We've given the direction of what we're trying to do. I feel confident in the structure, and now we're just going to let it populate over here so that I'm not having to build. Let's see what happens when I sign in here. Okay, it's going to take a while to get that going. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to go back to live vibe coding. I need to come up with a smart and compelling brand identity for the vibe coding school. Sorry, for the curriculum builder that I'm creating that will serve as both a curriculum builder and a syllabus and a student uh, dashboard for tracking with what's going on in the course, submitting homework, etc. There are plenty of these sorts of school dashboards out there, so we're not recreating that. But what is unique about this is that we're putting the power in the hands of the instructor to create a really robust curriculum, organize their thoughts, and reduce the friction that it takes to get to finishing a course. Help me come up with names first that we might leverage. We're going to have to be mindful that we'll need to buy a domain that is available, so it has to be somewhat unique. Okay. When logging into this website, I just have a loading screen. There's something fundamentally broken with this website because I have been trying desperately to get to the dashboard to make authentication work with Google, and it's just broken. So I need you to do a deep dive on the code to figure out what is going on here, and please proceed with the fix that's going to help us out. Okay, so I'm going to go take a look at the AI Ready RVA website, just because I got a report that there might be something going on over there. Sometimes it's just us, but sometimes there's something wrong. That worked. Okay, so I think everything's fine there. All right, not worried. Fixing that, getting this roadmap built out, getting this course built out. It's going to take a while for that to happen too, it looks like. Let's give this a refresh and see how we're doing on this roadmap. It says it's done. So I'll come back and do some QC on that later. I think I've pushed that as far as I would like to today. We'll figure out why that's broken. We're starting to get that traffic jam, I believe, perhaps, but slowing down just a tad here on the builds. see what kind of names we've got. Coursecraft. That sounds kind of fun. Let's go see what we've got from a domain perspective. All right. Just trying to find a domain that we can get. $45,000 for a domain? I don't think so. I'm hitting a wall here on names. What do we want to go with here? Let's see if Coursecraft is taken. It's not always soon. $90,000 for Coursecraft. Okay. The dashboard needs to have a app sidebar so that we can actually properly manage this thing. So that one's going here. This is taking a while. Cool. All right. I'm going to refresh the screen because it seems like this is probably further along than it looks like it is. The entire dashboard is a replication of the complete roadmap tool that we had built, not the facilitation navigator that I had expressly asked to build. You just duplicated what we had from the SDK prompt instead of, like, he just completely eliminated the liberating structures functionality from the site, which is actually what we're building. Um, so um, I need you to acknowledge the business case here that the roadmap is just the roadmap feature. I don't need the integrations. I don't need the documentation. I just need the roadmap. And I need you to bring back the facilitating structures site that is what we're building here. That was unexpected. I could go back and just like undo whatever, but it seems like it's probably just a UI thing that it's showing me the roadmap and not the other side of the site. We still have this structures page. That, yeah, it's like, doesn't make sense. It, you know, you give it all the instruction in the world, and sometimes it still does whatever the hell it wants to do. All right, let's see. I don't have any way to get to the dashboard. It would be nice if I had a link to the dashboard from the menu when I'm logged in here. I don't even have a way to log in. I guess I do have a dashboard link there. Okay, never mind. Put it in the menu anyway. When I click on the link to the roadmap, it just takes me to the home page. You have a bunch of front-end links in the admin dashboard. The admin dashboard is supposed to be a management utility to be able to manage everything on the front end, the content, everything else. You're still failing to acknowledge the business case for this website. This is an information website that hosts podcast episodes that get ingested by automation through YouTube. It is a blog, but the admin dashboard should not be taking me to the front end pages. It should be taking me to the management utilities. And so what I would like to do is make it so that the roadmap actually loads, because right now it's totally broken. And I would like you to populate the roadmap with all of the things that are required to complete this website and make it actually functional. Okay, so okay, got some kind of problems today, maybe getting jammed up with all these people using this thing. You have once again eliminated my app sidebar. I was explicit in demanding that the app sidebar exist for this site. I want to see management utilities. I want to see the roadmap. I want to see the structures. Add the sidebar. I didn't say to remove the sidebar. I just said to remove the shit from the SDK that we don't want. All right. Getting a little frustrated here. Okay. This is just big, very big undertaking here. Definitely going to be recruiting a master educator to help with this. A lot, a lot, a lot. Okay. All right. Well, let America's Healthiest City build. We're going to let that continue to build. What do I have? Dashboard structures roadmap. Okay, this is what I want to see. Okay. We now need to populate the product roadmap with all of the features that we want to build into this based on the original work plan prompt so that we can track our progress as we build. All right. Let me just go back to Lovable and see if there's any other projects that I'm working on that need to have the roadmap built into it. Okay, so this one's the execute sprint button is supposed to copy the auto-assembled sprint queue instructions for Lovable, telling it to ensure that it does not stop in between tasks and it changes the status of each task to in review when completed so that it can be reviewed by a person. This is designed to speed up our workflows. All right, what do we have next? All right. Okay, here's one more that we can get the. We need to install.
Okay.
So we are, I just did the wrong thing. I gotta actually copy that and get what I need here. Whole instructions. And let's see what we have. This is a big build that I've been working on that is it's ready for the next level of development. So I'm kind of excited about that. This one's kind of a little side project that I found is kind of challenging, but it's like a vocal uh, chatbot. So I'm not going to work on that right now. But I don't know that this is actually seems to be doing something else. Having a hard time hitting enter on that, but we'll get back to it. Okay, roadmap. Let's see. I don't need a clarity scan. Auto assemble the sprint. Hmm. The sprint queue should never be more than 8 items. We also need a button to clear the sprint queue. All right. Oh, I had this in planning mode. That's fine. Good gracious, this is a course. And this is, I think the thing that we need to do now is kind of test out um, the students on this. And it looks like we probably don't have, maybe we need to publish before we have an enrollment code. We have an instructor guide for this. Oh, that's kind of cool. Cool. All right. So, what does it say at the bottom? Generated from Curie. That's so funny. We never came up with a name for this thing. Man, these domains are so expensive. What is going on out there in the world today? Research kit sounds cool. That's probably also. What am I doing? Get out of here. This is the hard part. You gotta use your brain for that stuff. All right. I'm going to wrap it up here pretty soon. I think I've gotten this where I need it to be. Improve that. Figure out what's going on here. I guess I never hit go on that one. I have one of the things about populating roadmaps with instructions is that I can do that really quickly and I can have it kind of in the background ready to build and I can continue to come back to things that I've been working on and build them up even more. And so let me just go make sure that Curie is not available. I wonder what this says anyway. I just attempted to execute a sprint, and it's stopping to verify the implementation works correctly each time, when the explicit instruction should be to proceed through all of the roadmap items in the sprint queue without stopping in between. So we need to update the execute sprint instructions to be more explicit about that, and then we need to go ahead and proceed with the current queue that we have. But yeah, I gotta eat something here. So that is always the challenge. We got a time change, so we're back an hour or forward an hour. So we lost some time in our sleep last night. Um, Please go ahead and take anything that we didn't work on that should be worked on and add it to the product roadmap so that we can come back to it. Conduct a renewed QA on the system. Uh, Go ahead and clear anything that is in review that has a medium status as released if you are confident that those things are finished. So, just a little bit of advice here since today is a free day. It doesn't hurt to use Lovable to be populating your websites with content, to be leveraging all these tools to, you know, get past the manual population portion of things. So that's a little bit of a shortcut that you can leverage. My product roadmap shows 28 items total, but I only see 11 items active, so something is not visible to me for some reason. Okay, moving that one forward. See, we've got our product roadmap here. Let's see where that ended up. I need a link to the product roadmap in the app sidebar under product. I need a link to the product roadmap under the product menu on the left sidebar. I don't know why these are all in the backlog. I think that they can be moved to active, and we'll start to execute on the sprint. All right, so now it's just kind of moving through the motions here on all these different builds. And let's see. I need you to go and review what we've built, identify what we haven't built, identify what we need to improve, and populate the product roadmap with tasks that will develop our project to maturity. Um, let's see. I'm just going to get some of this stuff built out here so that we can keep our projects going. And same thing with Facilitation Navigator. This is going to have to get a nice little refresh. But let's see. I'm noticing that the sprint queue that we just executed still has all the items populated in it. If something is in review, it should have left the sprint queue. Only things that are allowed in the sprint queue are planned items, in progress items, or changes needed items. Okay. Moving, moving, moving. Okay. Let's see. Auto assemble new sprint here. Execute sprint. Paste this. Let's go. Let's see what we've got going on over here. So as you can see, we are, I'll have the opportunity to come and take a look at the roadmap on these and see where we've got to go and make sure that we can keep moving on all these different projects. They're not all done, and I need to keep working on them. So as I finish different projects, I'll be able to move over into these. But for today, it looks like it's nice outside. The sun's coming out. I'm going to go get some food, enjoy the outside a little bit, and wrap up my weekend. But I thank you guys for hanging out with me. I had a lot of fun. See some new faces today. Hopefully, you guys are going and joining me over at studio.willmelton.com, where you can follow along, you can subscribe, you can get a referral code and get paid for sending investors and buyers our way for some of these applications. So hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow, Monday at 5:30 Eastern Time, so that I can show you the front end of Channel RVA and all that we're building over there. So that's a wrap, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. Melton signing out.